Good evening, somewhere in the world. I am your host, Lex, and I can promise you that I am the most confused podcast host on the internet. Change your mind. Welcome to Actually Untitled, Episode 3. This is the commentary podcast with extra steps. And by extra steps, I mean I try to be funny for 30 minutes while I secretly devolve and spiral into a confused mess of twigs and bramble, turn into a tumbleweed, and bounce away in the wind by the end of the episode. Thanks for joining. Today's episode revolves around vegan entitlement. Now, if you're a vegan, pescatarian, vegetarian, keto dieter, any sort of dieter, or religiously inclined even, please hear me out when I say that this episode will be about an overly, toxically entitled vegan. Everyone, even normie omnivores, can become toxic people. I am not claiming that all vegans are toxic. Trust me. I worked alongside many different people and was raised in a heavily religious household before I dropped all the way off of that because of toxicity. Today's episode is going into that, but vegan. I like everyone, and I get along with everyone, just about. There aren't many people that I don't get along with, including subtypes and subcultures of people, until they get toxic. Then I don't like them anymore. Don't shove anything down anyone's throat. Plain and simple. That's that. Let them shove their own stuff down their own throats, and we will be fine. Let it be. Just let it be. If you don't, you're within reaching distance of being called toxic. This vegan that I look at took her own self-throat shoving of ideas and opinions and practices, self-control and all that goes into veganisms, and shoved it all the way down the throats of over a dozen innocent people living their lives, minding their own business. You know, things that you are supposed to be doing when you are living in a society with other people that aren't just you. This vegan lady made a conscious and personal choice to be vegan, and decided to make her own personal choice and preference, emphasis on personal choice and preference, and made it everyone's decided for them choice and preference, emphasis on decided for them choice and preference. Outright went to court over smells, over things that just enter the air, your own airspace. How when there are so many ways to avoid having to reach those levels of unable to handle itness. The title of the video I am referencing, just in case you don't believe me, is quote-unquote, "Vegan takes neighbors to court over barbecue cooking smell." How more pathetic can we get? Because, of course she did. It wouldn't be on the news if it didn't happen. And of course, I would not be making an entire confused podcast episode on this if it didn't happen. Blah, blah, blah. Let's fly into it. I was originally going to actually make a YouTube on this, as I said in the last episode, of course. But screw that, said my computer's encoding error after I got done recording for 3 hours. Because of course. So now I will just blabber on about it here because, I don't want to encounter any more video recording errors. This wasn't the only time that this happened, hence why I'm doing this now. Thank you, computer. Thank you very much. I guess we can all give a round of applause to my computer for bringing up this podcast and made it so. Thank you, computer, for being an asshole. A woman by the name of Cilla Carden, sounds like silicone, because when I was watching this video, the subtitles thought that they were saying silicone instead of Cilla Carden. Once upon a time, Cilla Carden got really angy. Angy vegan woman. Actually, a lot of times got upset. The news reporter mentioned that she, Cilla Carden, gets angy when people smoke, barbecue, or bounce a ball around her block or in their own backyard. Like, how can you get mad when a kid is bouncing a ball? I highly doubt they bounce the ball at your house siding or on your foot or something. So what exactly is your major malfunction, Cilla? I really, if you ever listen to this podcast, Cilla, really, what? Like, just what? But whatever. What level of bitch do you have to be to reach this level of Angy at some kids playing outside, for hell's sake? Have you lost your mind, woman? Have you never been a kid? How sensitive are you? And the smoking thing, I mean, I get it. I am actually allergic to cigarettes myself. My ass will end up in the hospital if I breathe in the smoke, and then I can't breathe. But all I do for that is get myself an air filter or something if I'm living in a house or around people for a long time that are smokers. They're not that expensive to get a good one, and take it from someone who gets anaphylactic shock. You just set it up and you're good. Chances are they, like the kids playing ball outside, are not going to bounce it right under your window or smoke or play around right underneath your window. Why don't you close your window? I mean, yes, freedom to be able to open your window, but there are other windows in your house. I don't see you heading out there asking them politely to scoot or stand in the wind in another direction. I don't see you going out there and being polite, Cilla, watching this thing. She doesn't seem to have an ounce of niceness or politeness in her just by looking at her. Neighbors should know better, right? If you don't have an allergy, anyway, otherwise you would have won your little court date, and besides, why go to the literal court over bouncing balls, smoking, and even more importantly, over people cooking? Seriously. They aren't throwing meat at your window and making it stick. Shush. You can easily fire up your own kitchen and whip up food that you want to smell, and you can counter the smell yourself if it's cooking time, if you're that desperate. Or just as I said, shut your window. Move to another house if you're that desperate. You do not have the right to take food from the mouths of others, so to speak. Somebody come get their mom, please. She's yelling at the kids to get off of their own lawn again. Oh, she's out there throwing her feces at the neighbor's grill, getting all mad. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, stinky. What are we gonna do? Something smells fishy. Somebody come get their mom, please. Before she throws a fit. I'm surprised she isn't, honestly, throwing her feces. I am really surprised that she isn't. With this amount of anger that she has. So then she goes on to say that not one, but two neighbors, supposedly on either side of her because of course, saying the kids do indeed bang the basketball against some what looks like to be a metal prison fence of sorts that is around her backyard. You can't see through it. In the video, you just can't. Check it out for yourself if you feel like it, but you just can't see through it. It's tall and full dystopian, honestly. The full dystopian aesthetic, going overboard to pair in with the dystopian mindset that this woman has. Crude metal walls that separate her house from the rest of the world, like the bomb shelter wannabe having nutcase she is, making herself out to be. But with walls that tall, I'm surprised that the smoke can even go over it so thickly that it comes into your house like that. The smell of barbecue, whatever it may be, like the wind has to go up pretty damn far to get over that fence. Are we sure she is not hallucinating and just dreaming of the smell of both of the addicting substances in the air, such as smoking and meat? Because why not, Cilla? This woman claims that her neighbors outwardly and they just outright bang on the fences, the wall fences at night in deliberate attempts to harass her. To which I want to know, because I am the most confused podcast host on the entire internet as of 2021, don't look that up, why would they be doing that? My history with neighbors is that unless I do something, they keep to themselves. Have you ever gone over there and messed with them, Cilla? Lady? I think you do. With that chaotic Dalmatian print shirt you got on, I really think you might just go over there and traumatize the kids, Cilla. Or, better yet, here's some advice. Get another fence. One that, maybe isn't metal. The loudest material? Get wood or brick or something. How about we don't use the loudest material made for mankind to make a fence out of? You know that shit's gonna rattle, or better yet, how about we don't harass the neighbors and bully them by taking them to literal court? A courthouse. Court dates. In front of a judge. A literal judge over the smell of some fish being grilled. How silly are we, Cilla? Wait, that sounds really silly. The neighbors have said that they do not try to mess with her in any way, and I believe it. They just want to keep the peace. And they said that too. They declined interview, of course, not wanting to be put on blast over the fact that they want to just be left alone, obviously. They just want a fish dinner, and she wants to have a power trip control freakout moment. Because, of course, why not? The neighbors went as far as to remove their barbecue from their own backyards, and even told their poor little kids that they can no longer play basketball. Can you imagine the sadness in not being able to live normally just because some entitled jackwagon woman is going to take you to actual court, make you miss work, make you feel stress over going to these courtrooms, all because you wanted to eat and play outside in your own personal backyard of the house you bought or rent, either way you worked hard to obtain and keep? What in the name of oppression is going on? The court case, of course, because of course it did get thrown out. The judge saw it. It was just complete nonsense to them, which it is. Honestly, I would be right there in the same exact shoes with the same exact gavel, just like that judge. Good job, judge. I don't remember the name of the judge, and I don't think they even said it, so there's that. But GG, judge, good game. Show the wannabe boss who indeed is the boss here. Ha ha. Oh, I was just saying court the whole time. You remember how I've gone through this entire podcast thus far and just said that she's taken them just to court? They just updated me and everyone else in the world by saying that she has been taking them to Supreme Court. Not just a regular court, the actual Supreme Court. Of course, the news provider, cast host person said that this was a very extreme step that she has been taking, but really? Supreme Court, not just regular. Cilla Carden literally took these people to Supreme Court over smells. Fish smells. Grilling fish smells. How offended are you? Just let that sink in. Let the let the seasoning sink in, will you? Again, I am confused. What level of do you have to be? What made you this angry? What is it? Is this woman okay? I mean, like, really, when they were interviewing her, she just complained over and over and over about the smell of fish. Oh my god, I smell fish. Yeah, it's just fish. I'm very surprised that a vegan such as herself is not getting upset over maybe like some burgers or something like that. I mean, fish farming is probably one of the more humane things that exist when it comes to meat farming, at least in my opinion. I am not an expert on farming, agriculture in any way. I'm just some person who was raised in a city and hates it. But I am definitely not an expert, but I do assume that fish farming is a lot more humane than any of the other things that could be farmed. And she wants to complain about that. So she is stooping into the lowest, again, in my opinion, the lowest of levels of humanity. I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but in the most humanely farmed animal source for food, wants to have a Supreme Court case over smelling cooking fish. Again, something that I believe is humanely taken care of more so than the rest of the things. It's still not humane, but more humane than cows, pigs, mink, even though that is a completely different story. But over fish? Again, what level of bitch do you have to be? What made you this Angy? What is it? And again, is this woman okay? Never mind, that is a really dumb question. She literally vowed to keep bringing them to court to continue this fight over smells. Lady, Cilla, welcome to Yankee Candle. Please enjoy your stay. Oh, but this is not all, of course, because I had to bring this in. It was right in the recommended, the first top video in the recommended, after this video was made. Literally 3 days later, not even a week. 3 whole days later, the news channel came up again and returned with the news that, surprise, Cilla Carden, the vegan crusader, got backlash. No kidding. What happened, you may ask? Well, no confusion here. Of course, the people who say this went apeshit and set up a whole Facebook event online to host a block party barbecue in front of this woman's house. International attention. International attention. 24, not 100,000 people specifically all pitched in to support this block party, this barbecue block party. Australia is straight up savage. Not only are the animals vicious, but oh god, when there is a fragile vegan woman in Australia and she tries to go to the Supreme Court, the whole world replies with polo and whips out a whole block party barbecue without so much as 3 days worth of time. Imagine waking up to the smell of fish. Oh god, the horrible, terrible smell of fish. But not only fish, but you look outside to see all of Australia outside your damn house grilling. Protesting you and your revved up bullshit. Cilla, what did you do? Really? Your milk hate brought all the boys to the yard. I am not exactly certain what the hell happened, if they really did go through with it or not, but just imagine if it did. And if it did, imagine what it was like. What would you do if you were Cilla? Or lived next to Cilla, I guess, and she wanted to take you over to Supreme Court every waking moment she could? What would you do? Honestly, as for me, I think I would just petition court to make her move or kindly hand her a gift card to Bath & Body Works for scented stuff, or just gift her an air filter. I couldn't just ignore her. She can't ignore me. Obviously, I can't go about my daily life without her meddling in my business. If I own that house, I am going to do whatever the hell I legally can and want to do on my land. I'm just saying. Let me know what you would do, honestly, I'm curious. Let me know, comment, find a way, let me know, send me a message, whatever it may be. But it reminds me of that vegan teacher. Everyone's heard of that vegan teacher. You can't lie to me and say that you haven't. Everyone knows about her now. I still have not watched anything fully from her when it comes to content she's made, and honestly, I am quite scared if I may ever have to. Lord, I would get graded by her with a fat F because I have to eat meat in order to keep my weight and all of that shit stable. I can't afford to lose any more weight, and she would hate me for that, of course. Toxic woman, please, find a better day job. My little bit of talking point here is that it reminds me of those people you hear getting very loud and preachy outside, like downtown in a city, doomsayers or whatever you want to call them. They're out there just every day, just yelling, their mouths dry, trying to just invoke fear and seem intimidating, just trying to demand it's their way or the highway. It's just so annoying. To the vegans out there and other dieters out there who do not go outside to yell down the street, post a million bumper stickers, posters, flags, articles all over your cars, and drive them around with loudspeakers, all the people who don't yell at me in the middle of lunch even though you have no idea who I am, thank you. kindly from the bottom of my heart and probably several other people for not doing that, for not being that person. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Because once I had a friendship or so, I guess, somebody I wanted to be friends with, or whatever, we got along for several weeks, days, months, until one day we ran into each other in public once again after meeting, staying as online contacts and then seeing each other again on accident walking downtown, ironically. And she liked my leg hair that she saw, that I forgot to shave off because I've been busy during that time thanks to work. It was very embarrassing at the time, but the more embarrassing part was the fact that I had been snacking on a cookie, and she went off about it when I told her that I snacked on a cookie that day. Purely went off screaming at me in the middle of the sidewalk because she was a hardcore vegan. I didn't know that, and she hated the fact that I had eaten a milk product. All of this over a cookie. This is a true story of mine. Normally, I have seen toxic veganisms and veganism over actual meat, but a literal cookie? A chocolate chip cookie was the turning point to where she just hated me, seething hatred after that. And anytime she saw me online, she would just dismiss me or mention something to do with cookies. She could not let it go, no matter what amount of time it took me to block her in order for her to leave me alone. And that came after months of trying to just say, hey, it's a thing. I'm just trying to be nice and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay, yes, I respect that. And I'm sorry for eating a cookie. It's a snack. I didn't know that you would feel so harshly about that. And she would just go off. We are far departed now, but we would have been fine if I just never talked about cookies, I guess. What the fuck? I don't know. Same with my mother, too, who was a die-hard Christian, Lutheran. Some of you may already know I was raised Christian. My mother was a very toxic one, to say the least. That woman would make friends and lose them just as fast as she made them, all because she felt like she needed to push and shove and drive Christianity on people all over their lives. Just if they felt like accusing anyone of anything that day, she would just mentally take a raffle hat, pull a friend's name out of it, and blame it on them. Call them the devil, rebuke them or whatever, and just turn them into an enemy that day. And then be fine with it the next day, but never letting go of what she said they done when they didn't do any of that. If you done so much as dressed in the wrong color she didn't like that day, you were going to hell, and she was going to be the one to damn you there, whether you knew that she disliked the color black, or whatever the heck, or not. Anything upside down is the devil, and anything in reversed is demon's work. Hell, I was so cornered in my youth that I couldn't even watch Harry Potter, superheroes, or anything of the sort, really. Marvel, DC Comics, Power Rangers, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anything. All because she believed it was the devil's work and it was just straight up devilish. I didn't even have cable growing up because she felt that cable itself was too demonic. I had no childhood, I had no fun, and I was made to dress in pink and white lace all the time. Anyone who knows me knows I am far off of that now. There were prayers before bed, before eating, all of that. She got me into being a toxic youth, harassing my own father, who was an atheist, over why he didn't go to church. He ignored me, thank God, but holy shit. Talk about toxic and making people around you feel like shit and hate their lives. Made me toxic by proxy. What possesses a person to become like that? I don't f***ing know. I'm confused and forever will be confused. Why did that vegan woman not just get an air filter or something, or just move? Who knows? Honestly, maybe she just wanted the attention on the news, which seems to be a frequent problem with people who are that level of toxic. Toxic is what toxic does. I want to thank you for not being that toxic. You are lovely. You are not Angy. But either way, thank you for listening. Let me know what you think of this episode. Genuinely, I could use any of the feedback. I could use the positive affirmation if you have any to give. If you have any suggestions or feel that I must absolutely see something, including that vegan teacher, but I really don't want to see that vegan teacher, follow my Twitter and send me it, or tag me in it, whatever, throw it at my face. And also follow to be kept up to date on when I post more podcast content again. Yeah. My Twitter is at Lex or whatever. Underscores between each word. Lex underscore or underscore whatever. Then you press enter. And I have been your host, speaker, entertainer, commentary, podcast host person, Lex. And I will see you again when I see you. Bye.